Good afternoon everyone, this is group reporting by John Ray Juanillo and John Paul Legaspi. So we're here to discuss to you the evolution of taxes of Philippine taxation. Introduction. Taxation is the reality that all the citizens must contend with for the primary reason that the government raise revenue from the people they govern to be able to function fully. In exchange for the taxes that people pay, the government promises to improve the citizens' lives through good governance. Taxation is a government mechanism to raise funds, develop and evolve through time, and in the context of the Philippines, we must understand that it came from our colonial experience. So, let's move on. What is tax? Taxation is defined in many ways. Commonly heard definitions include: it is the process by which the sovereign, through its law-making body, raises revenues to defray expenses of government. It is means of government in increasing the revenue under the authority of law, purposely used to promote welfare and protection of its citizenry. It is the collection of the share of individual and organizational income by a government under the authority of the law. Also, tax is the amount of money paid to the government from our income. On the other hand, taxation is the act of imposing taxes in the fact of being taxed. Its purpose is to generate funds of revenues used to defray expenses incurred by the government in promoting the general welfare of its citizenry. So let's define what is history of tax. To support the colony, several taxes and monopolies were established. The buwis, tribute, which could be paid in cash or kind with tobacco, chicken, produced gold, blankets, cotton, rice, or other products, depending on the region of the country. Also, there was abansala, from the Tagalog word mandala, a round stock of rice stalks to be threshed, an annual forced sale and requisitioning of goods such as rice. Here also, history of taxation in Philippines. History of taxation in the Philippines, pre-colonial period, 900 to 1521, government were called barangays. No national government, there was no dato strong enough to unite the archipelago into one nation. Some barangays, however, united to form a confederation, which it was headed by a ruler called dato or raja. Ancient Filipinos practiced paying taxes for the protection from their dato. The collected tax or tribute was called buwis or handog. Pre-colonial period, 900 to 1521. The chieftain's family members were enjoying exemption from paying taxes. Non-payment of taxes was already punishable during this time. Judicial process was influenced by religion and by waiting the intervention of the deities, wherein dato served as the chief judge, who was assisted by a group of elders in the barangay that acted as members of the jury. Three classes or ranks. First is the Tumao class, includes dato, where the nobility of pure royal descent. Second is the Timawa class, wherein warriors class or the third rank or nobility and freemen, neither chiefs nor slaves, required to render military service to the dato in hands, land wars or sea raids. They could acquire property, acquire any job they want, pick their own wives, and acquire an alipin, however expected to pay taxes and support the Maginoo class. They are the only class to pay taxes and hence their importance in the community. Let's see the picture of dato here. Next is Timawa class or warriors. Third is alipin, slaves or oripon. So let's go with the purpose and significance of tax. So first is the primary source. Generates funds or revenues used to defray expenses incurred by the government in promoting the general welfare of its citizenry, public expenditure. Other purposes are to equitably contribute the wealth of the nation. Next are eras of taxation in the Philippines. First, Spanish era, American era, Commonwealth period, Aquino regime 1965 to 1986, and Arroyo's 2000 to 2010, and lastly, the 30 regime 2016 until now or present. So first, taxation during Spanish era. Taxation in the Philippines during Spanish colonial period as galleon trade, forced labor which male Filipinos were obligated to serve, which results to debts. Next is taxation under the Americans. Americans aim to make the economy self-sufficient by running the government with the possible sum, revenue, and create surplus in the budget. They also implemented the land tax. Next is taxation during the Commonwealth period. In 1937, the Sagila tax was abolished, which prepared to be a progressive move. In 1939, the Commonwealth drafted the National International Revenue Code, which introduced major changes in the new tax system. Next is Aquino regime 1965 to 1986 and Arroyo's 2000 to 2010. A major reform in the tax system was introduced under the term Aquino, the value-added tax VAT or value-added tax. In 2005, under Arroyo's regime, the expanded value-added tax or EVAT was signed into law as RA 9337. Lastly, I also include Duterte regime 2016 up until now. Under Duterte's administration, he vowed to lower income tax rates shouldered by working Filipinos. The tax reform for acceleration and inclusion train law was also implemented. The proposed tax reform also seeks to limit VAT or value-added tax exceptions and increase excise tax on petroleum products and automobiles.